And I'm going to bring up a name here. This is going to be for a future show. Okay. But it's just something that kind of moved me in the last few days. I always say to young people, make sure you talk to older people because they're like an encyclopedia of history. And it's not a cliche. It's so easy to lose folks before you can chat with them, whatever. And a name came up last week. Thank God for social media with all its negativity and all the rap that it gets. It has introduced families and people and friends who are able to stay in touch around the world. And kind of belatedly, I heard about someone actually from the 1970s, Val. This is a military story from the 1970s. In high school, in Dorval High School, I had a PE teacher, or as they say up in Canada, a gym teacher, and his name was Chris Seary, Mr. Seary. Again, I'm going to do another show on this because there's really cool info here. But Chris Seary was he was our PE teacher, very relaxed, cordial guy, as British as the day is long. And for some reason, he became a mentor of mine. Okay, I became a mentor because I was mentor to so many senior guys over the years. But Chris Seary, Mr. Seary, he was absolutely awesome. And I heard his name a couple of weeks ago because he passed away. I believe it's late to the table, about 2010. But I'd never appreciated who he was. I talked to him a lot back then. I knew he was a military guy. Okay, I knew he was a British Army guy or whatever. But what I found out, and sadly only learned some of this stuff from obituaries. You know, I'm into the prelogies. Write stuff and do tributes while they're still alive. But Chris Seary, Mr. Seary, he had brought to the table in PE class something called the pegboard. And I'll do this in the future where I have an actual photo of the pegboard's still there at Dorval High School. Pegboard is a large wooden board and it's about 10 feet up, nailed to the wall. And like a pegboard, it's got little holes in it. And the pegboard was the most challenging training regimen that I've ever seen. And what it was is you had these wooden pegs. You'd have to jump up to this pegboard and put the wooden peg in and hold yourself and come up and do the other wooden peg in. So it's all armed and very often one arm. And it would be more fun when we have a photo of this, but I couldn't believe the pegboard was still there from Dorval High. And then you go up it, and you go across. And anyhow, it was brutal. There were only 2 people in Dorval High School that could do the pegboard. It was that grueling. One was, of course, me and my dear friend Derek Gatehouse. No one else could. No one else could do it. What do you mean? They couldn't do it. Hang there by one arm, whatever. And even the weightlifting guys and the football guys, they couldn't do the pegboard. I say this because Chris Seary introduced me to it, Mr. Seary. And what I didn't know is Mr. Seary was not only British soldier. He was SAS. He was special ops guy. He was a parachute guy. And he was also an Olympic caliber swimmer. So I'm here. I think he could swim 10, 15, 20 miles, whatever the number is. So he's a Navy SEAL, basically. The mortality rate of his units, because I asked him, they'd parachute him in behind German lines. World War II, everyone. World War II. They'd parachute him in behind enemy lines. And I asked him, I said, Mr. Seary, I remember I'd sit in his office with him. And I said, Mr. Seary, they'd parachute in behind German lines. Did most of you guys get out? And he said, Greg, when you're parachuted in like that, he said, you're lucky if one comes out. The mortality rate was 90% of his unit. But the full circle there is the pegboard was part of the training regimen for British SAS. And I'll tell you something, if you're going to do the pegboard, you're a tough warrior. There's my story. I kind of ranted on that, but I'm going to do a segment on Chris Seary. And unfortunately, he's passed away. So there you go. Val, back to you. I know you weren't expecting that story, but again, there seems to be a theme of veterans today, Val Olson.
Well, that's really interesting, and interesting to learn you were able to do that. So you were kind
Mhm.
of like you must have had the right, genetics or wiring, and you were able to
Yeah.
make your way on that pegboard pretty fast. Do you
Yeah.
think you could do it today still?
Hell no. It requires strength, Val Olson. No, it was truly a strength thing. And we were teenagers. I'm 15, 16 years old. But all I can say, track record wise, there were only two guys in the high school that could do it. But yeah, very interesting. It combines not only your arm strength, because you got to hang by one arm while you place the other and stuff, but coordination, because you have to take the peg out
Right.
and put it back in. So net of that, could I do it now? Maybe I'd like to try, but I don't think so. But I
Well,
would
I think
try.
there's
I'd
a
try.
lot to do with your mental
Sure,
state too,
sure,
right? Because you have to
sure.
be wired and
Way,
believe that
way.
you can do this and work through pain
Yep.
and endurance and all of that. I think